we're going to be looking at how to draw with ink and doing some ink experiments with different types of bottled inks. And all those experiments we're then going to use to put into a drawing of a jellyfish or an insect or a bird or an animal or a dragonfly, or, you know, that connects with our Colours in Nature project. So firstly, make sure you've got all the equipment that you need. You need your bottle of ink, you need your round brushes, earbuds, and your dip ink and a couple of little sticks. And make sure that the page in your sketchbook is laid out just like this one here. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 squares, and draw around that little piece of card that you've done a pattern on at the beginning of the lesson. We're then going to start straight away using your round brush. That's a really versatile brush, is your round brush, because you know it can get thin or thicker lines depending on the pressure that you put in. We're going to use the ink here. Now this ink here, when watered down, it goes blue, a blue effect colour, and that's called a Quink ink. The other type of ink is an Indian ink in these lovely Winsor and Newton boxes. When that's watered down, it gives a nice brown effect. In the first box, you're just going to use a light pressure to begin with, and think about maybe this is a really good technique for fur or for birds' feathers and things like that. So hold your brush like I'm doing here and use it so that you're using the tip, or what we call the foot of our round brush. You're using the very, very tip and making nice little flick marks. So you're pressing on a little bit harder there and then flicking out. You can see as the ink lessens on the brush, the fainter the lines we get. So as nature would say, we go back and dip it in the pot because it's called dip inks. We're drawing with dip inks here. Now the pressure, if you press on a bit harder with your round brush and use the belly, look at the different marks that you get in here. Look at that lovely thick mark that you're getting. So in the first box, you've got a little variety of different marks. In the second box, put down a layer of water first. Now it doesn't matter if you've still got a little bit of ink on your brush, but just look how that ink is now going into a lovely, like, light blue colour. You then you were sticking with our round brush, using the same pressure again, but just look how that is bleeding and making a really lovely, lovely effect. Imagine what you could do with that by looking at maybe wings of an owl or the texture of a hawk's wings. And just look at that lovely, or a butterfly. Look at that lovely texture. Technique number 2, we're going to use our dip pens straight away. There are various different sizes to use today, but that's fine. Just collect one and then dip it into your ink. Dip it in. And the second box, we're going to look at just drawing here like a feather, and then use your pen like this and flick out. So again, using your pressure, heavier, lighter, just explore and experiment, see what you can do with that dip pen. Now this would be lovely to use again for feathers, for jellyfish, little textures on wings that you could get on scales for amphibians and frogs. The second box, again, using your round brush, a layer of water. It doesn't matter if you're getting a little bit of ink on there, but a nice, very quick layer of water like I'm doing here. Then with your pen, dip that back in the ink again and wait for this. This is going to go, whoa, and then just let that bleed. And we're going to sort of draw a feather as well, but we're just going to let that ink, just look at that effect that that's getting there. Imagine how lovely that's going to look on your work later on feathers or little jellyfish tentacles, or on butterfly wings, or on thinking about like the legs of insects, or that lovely fluffy bee texture that bees get. Just look at that, where that ink starts to bleed as you leave it, and the lighter lines looking as well, they're giving a bit of contrast. Just pop your pen back down. In fact, going straight into technique number 3. And this is a really good one for scales. Scales of fish, scales on chameleons and lizards, and even on dragonflies' wings. So at the bottom corner, just want you to think about the scale shape and start to draw straight with your dip pen. Keep going back, dipping it in like I'm doing there. And then draw kind of some circular kind of scale shapes. Then you want to use your brush, get some water. And we're going to go back to where the ink is on the edge of where you've just drawn. And you're going to just water it down. But you're going to encourage it carefully to come in like that. Look at that there. Don't pick up any more water because you only need a tiny bit. And just look how that effect is starting to happen there. You could get some really beautiful